This is a Fox Sports presentation. It's time to dare or beware of the danger from the ultimate stranger. But in the chamber lies one bullet, and it's called the NHL on Fox. Ride, Captain, ride. Rangers take a ride down Philly way. Again, the Richter scale is rocking. And with Wayne and Mess, one could guess this odd couple could return the cup to Broadway. But Lindros and his Flyboys answered a no one. But will coffee be good to the last drop and serve Flyer fans one fresh cup? Out on the coast, put those snowshoes on, because it's an avalanche, dude. Colorado's snowmen continue to surge, led by the natural Forsberg. But in San Jose, the Eagle has landed. Today, coyotes roam the hills of the Igloo. And scientists still search for the true meaning of Kachuk and Habibulin. We may never know. Meanwhile, Lemieux's legend continues to live large, and Jaromir the Hair Boy is a shining star. Washington capitalizes in FLA, where the name is Bondra, Peter Bondra. It's always easy to tell a good melon, but in Florida, great Scott. And below the palm trees stands a man named the Bees. Oh, jeez. Detroit wheels into the Blue Bayou, where Irish eyes are smiling on the Shanahan. But the not-so-blue Brett Holmes feeling hot, because his friend Keenan is diddly squat. Don't be like all the rest and be forced to confess you know what is best. The NHL on Fox.
Welcome to Hollywood and the NHL on Fox. And folks, expect a black and blue afternoon filled with divisional rivalries, including a big one between the Atlantic Division leading Philadelphia Flyers, who host a meeting with the Great One and his New York Ranger teammates. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown. Thank you very much for joining us here on the NHL on Fox. Pleased to be with my partner, Dave Maloney, again. Rangers, Flyers, contrast in styles.
Absolute contrast in style. The New York Rangers are a quicker, more finesse-orientated team that are built around Messier and Gretzky, but are sorely going to miss Alexei Kovalev, who is out with an ACL injury. They're going to miss him. They're not deep enough talent-wise. In the meantime, when you talk about depth and strength, we're talking about the Philadelphia Flyers, who are built as a team from one line down to the fourth line deeper. They are not going to be as inclined to miss people in and out of the lineup. For the attrition that the Stanley Cup playoffs become, I believe the Philadelphia Flyers are better equipped to win the Stanley Cup.
All right, David, let's get things started today in Philadelphia, where the Flyers will try to build on their division lead over the Rangers. Mike Emmerich is there for the call. Good afternoon, Doc.
Good afternoon, JB. Since December 29th, the Flyers have led the East, and you can see the Rangers can be back to within 6 if they win. You know, as a hockey fan, you often pay the price of admission the summer before. When the tickets arrive, like for these today, much of the anticipation is in the event and how far away it is. And occasionally you get a bonus. Wayne Gretzky came to the Rangers in July after the season ticket letter went out. This is a Rangers investment for a championship in June. And Paul Coffey came to the Flyers in December after many of today's tickets had already been sold. Well, today the marquee man on the outside of Coors State Center has run out of letters. But these fans don't think there aren't too many big names here. They have gathered in the largest number in the history of hockey in Philadelphia. On now to St. Louis and Sam Rosen.
Thank you very much. The puck in the city of brotherly love. Eric Lindros and company try to widen their Atlantic Division lead over the New York Rangers. Right now, let's send you out to the Coors State Center in Philadelphia.
Assembling a title means finding big pieces and seeing if they fit together. If they do, the rest might follow. In hockey, the big pieces are essential and are often the men who wear double numbers. Big teams, big double-numbered pieces in Philadelphia at Coors State Center this afternoon. The biggest double number in the last 20 years, 99. Wayne Gretzky onto the ice of Coors State Center near the Delaware River in South Philadelphia, where this afternoon it's the Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers. Good afternoon, everyone. Along with John Davidson, I'm Mike Emmerich. In the city with a glorious hockey tradition, we have a first today. This is the biggest crowd to ever see this sport in the city of Philadelphia.
And Mike, nothing but marquee players. So you think up front for the Rangers, you've got Messier and Gretzky. On the other side with Philadelphia, you've got people like Leclerc and Lindros on the blue line. You've got Leach and Coffey in goal. Richter and Hextall. There's 4 or 5 players that are potential Hall of Famers, some great stars.
And when they get in the Hall of Fame, you'll have to look up to them because they're big. There's 16 guys on this roster, 6'2" or bigger, and 19 guys, including the goalies, who are over 200 pounds.
Yeah, that's the thing I think divides these two teams. The Philadelphia Flyers are quicker and they're bigger. For example, if Lindros plays against Wayne Gretzky, there's a 40-pound difference there, along with 6 or 7 inches in height. Will the Rangers be able to handle the Flyers' speed and the Flyers' size, I think, is the big question today.
In the Rangers' third jersey, Mike Richter from nearby Flowertown, Pennsylvania, 12-7-3 against the team he grew up rooting for. Quiet and very unassuming and successful. Sort of nervous, but it doesn't show in his play. Ron Hextall against the Rangers' lifetime, 16-17-5, fiery and competitive. He leads the league in penalty minutes, 7th in average. Steve Walkham, the referee, Kevin Collins and Brian Murphy are the linesmen. Chris Therien and Eric Desjardins will start on defense for the Flyers. Rod Brind'Amour, Trent Platt, and Scott Daniels. Ulf Samuelsson and Alexander Karpovtsev in back for the Rangers. Pat Flatley, Sergei Nemchinov, and Bill Berg up front. And we are underway in Philadelphia. Third game of the season series. The Flyers won 1 in New York, and the teams tied 1 in New York. Off of Flatley, it's back in Hextall territory. Hextall flipped it along. Flatley jostled there. Punched on back for the throw by Cairns. Dumped back up, and Cairns shouldering with Daniels. Will they go? They're squared off, and here we go in center ice under the big scoreboard.
28 seconds into the first period, there was a collision at the blue line. And the way they go, these are 2 big guys. Cairns has got a longer reach, as you see. And he's a strong man. I'm telling you, Mike, he is one of the strongest players I've ever seen in the National Hockey League, talking about Cairns. Daniels, an aggressive kid. You can see he threw the punches early, but he didn't have the reach to match Cairns, who's so darn big. 2 years ago, he would never have made the National Hockey League, but Cairns has worked on his conditioning, and now he has a chance to play. And with his size, you can see he's going to battle. The puck's there. Cairns pinched with Daniels. They met. They looked at each other. And you knew right there it was going to be a fair fight or a fair start to this scrap. Daniels threw the first 2 or 3 punches, but they didn't reach because he couldn't match the long arms, as you see, of Cairns. And then Cairns unloaded a bomb. You'll see in a moment right there, knocking Daniels down. Well, the rivalry is alive and well, Mike.
It is indeed. John participated in a number of games, both here and in New York, in which there was a lot of this.
And our team, when I played for the Rangers, was never quite as tough as the Flyers team when we played here in this building. Man, were they, the old Spectrum, before this building was built, when the Flyers had the big, tough teams, that was one really tough place to go into and try to win. But I really enjoyed it, Mike, because it was always a game that you got emotionally into immediately.
Karpovtsev throws one off the stick of Hextall. Robitaille bumped off by Michel Petit. Much traveled defenseman acquired here because of Shell Samuelson's injury. Neck surgery for him. And out for a long time. Brian Leetch hands it back over now for Bookeboom, who left it behind. Bumped by Brind'Amour. They scrap for it, and Sundstrom sent down. Trent Platt taking care of that. Bookeboom back over to Leetch. Boy, we're sure glad you're with us today. A matchup like this that has so much drama built into it, and then you have a scrap right early that just adds a little bit to the drama. It's full-strength hockey with marquee names on both rosters.
And now you're seeing the Rangers. They're changing a lot on the fly. It looks like they want Samuelsson and Karpovtsev as the defense pairing for the Lindros line. And the Rangers, I think, will change and try and get Messier opposite Lindros, not Gretzky.
A pass just through Wayne Gretzky, who would have been alone.
It was a defense change for Philadelphia. And they almost got caught for a breakaway by Gretzky.
It is Eric Lindros. Sundstrom to Gretzky. To Sundstrom in front. He scores! Nicklas Sundstrom on a feed from Wayne Gretzky, and at 1:43, it's 1-0.
The Rangers have not played since Monday, and they were very fearful of being rusty. Gretzky, Leetch, and Messier never practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They did yesterday. The game is today. And you'll see the congestion on the near side. And you can see right away Lindros having trouble with the puck. It's stripped by Robitaille. And you can see Sundstrom move to the front. That was Sundstrom that stripped, pardon me, Lindros, not Robitaille. Now Sundstrom goes to the net. Gretzky with a primary assist. Man, nobody took the body on Sundstrom at all, and the Rangers have a 1-0 lead.
18th goal of the year. got the goal at 1:43. Gretzky gets the lone assist.
Mike, for Gretzky, his last 12 assists, 11 of them have been primary assists. In other words, the first assist, the man that made the pass to set up the shot for the goal. Gretzky, that's 11 of his last 12 assists, primary assists.
And 3 of them in Pittsburgh last Saturday afternoon. Offside call as you see Mark Messier, owner of a 6-game point string during which he's gotten 11 points.
You know, you look at Lindros, he's the #1 centerman for Philadelphia. The Rangers so far are trying to get this defense pairing against him. I think Terry Murray would love to get Lindros on the ice if Cairns is out there, because Cairns is a rookie. Bukaboom, it'll be okay with Leach from the Rangers' point of view. So I think we're going to see the Rangers change on the fly a lot during this game to get the defense pairing they want against Big Eric Lindros.
Last couple of years, we've noticed this a lot more with defense matchups against star forwards on the other team. But does it go back deeper than that? I mean, was this a product of the 60s or 70s too, or not?
I think it's something that has developed in the last few years. For instance, with Philadelphia, all these last 2 or 3 years, they've had Kevin Haller in the lineup, and he's been on the ice every time Mark Messier's there, and he has frustrated Mark Messier. Now, with the Coffey trade, Haller was traded to Hartford, and tonight you're going to see Desjardins there, number 37. He'll be on the ice a lot when Messier's out there. So this is going to be a very interesting thing. Now, if the Rangers get Messier against Lindros, they go as a unit of 5 with Coffey and Niederma, who's got the puck now. You won't see the best defensive defenseman in Desjardins against Messier. Now, Mike, another matchup just happened. The Rangers just changed their defense. On comes Samuelson and Carpensa for Lindros.
Shot by Zubras went off the glass and stuck to the back of the net. And we get a whistle and stoppage of play.
We're seeing 2 coaches here that match, love to match. Terry Murray's got the last change because he's on home ice. Now, I'm watching the referee now. He's stopping and he's looking around. The Rangers have the option of making a change right now. Terry Murray will wait. Will Coley Campbell make a change? It doesn't look like. So the referee just now put his hand up. See the hand up? He's telling the Rangers, you can't put anybody else on the ice. The Flyers have a chance to counter and make a change. They don't. So for this next portion of play, these 2 teams will leave the same players on the ice.
But when Lindros is against Gretzky, you're talking about a tremendous size.
40, 45 pounds. You know, and I don't think, and Gretzky's actually never played head-to-head against Lindros in a game. So if that happens in this game, it'll be interesting.
Well, Paul Coffey tried to float it through for Zubras, brought on by John LeClair. Followed up by Lindros, and a shot quickly was wide. Oh, and a heavy hit on LeClair by Old Samuelson, and they tangle a bit. Meanwhile, it's controlled by the Rangers and worked on by Alexander Karpatsev, and then he was thumped by LeClair.
And LeClair with a hit on each defenseman. The defense changed quickly. That was 2 great hits.
Vorobiev put it off the outside of the goal, dealt on by Zubras. Leach tried to chip it in front, fed on by Adam Graves. Lindros bumped by Messier. Eric Lindros again, but it's given up for a drive by Graves that had to be saved by Hextall. And a hit into LeClair. Punishing game already. Coffey the pass. Zubras the set, and it came to Graves. Misfired on the pass. Chipped back along for Klatt, but instead it's Lindros who couldn't take it. Just a little stick work by Bukaboom prevented Lindros from getting any chance. Hextall again. Steams it back up the glass. Bukaboom a shot, and that tipped to the glass by Nemchinov. An 81-mile-an-hour shot. Pass ricocheted to Desjardins. And Desjardins just backhands it in. Every play involves a tangle. That time it was Noonan and Desjardins. Played across by Bukaboom, and on comes Brian Leach looking for Nemchinov, and then he fed to Langdon. Langdon taken down by Pat Falloon.
That's set up by a pass from Brian Leach. Fabulous pass by Leach, and Falloon lost position. The Rangers have a power play. Let's look at Brian Leach on the pass. You see he's got the puck as he moves up ice. Stop it there. All the Flyers thought Nemchinov was going to get the puck. Instead, Leach went wide, and he hit his man over there. That was Langdon, and Falloon ended up tackling him down to the ice. So the Rangers get the first power play.
Best power play in the league. They have Gretzky working it back in and taking the return pass from Sundstrom. Dealt it back to him again. Front of the net, Robitaille. Gretzky angled it across. Leach reaches. It's poked away from Driver and back down. And quickly the Flyers make a change in their penalty killing unit. Otto comes off, and so does Podine. Up front for Philadelphia, Rod Brind'Amour and Trent Klatt. In back, Desjardins to work with Chris Therien. Brought in by Gretzky. Big shot went wide. Rebound picked up and worked around behind by Driver. No play for Robitaille. Therrien hurried it back up the boards. Dealt in front by Brind'Amour and cleared down by Desjardins.
So we're just about 50 seconds into the power play, and the Flyers have changed twice. They're ranked number 4 in the league, and I think the reason is because they're so aggressive and they have their short shifts. They're very, very disciplined in changing their penalty killers.
Yeah, this is the third shift now. It's thrown to the Paul Coffey corner, taken by Wayne Gretzky, his ex-teammate of long-standing. Flipped to the side of the net. Adam Graves there to play that. Graves very carefully along to Gretzky, and then he positions himself inside the box. Messier, the opposite side. Leach faked the drive, gave it to Driver, shooting, kicked out by Hextall, and he's able to hang on as he took it right off his pad.
That was a great save because Adam Graves deflected the shot in front. Hextall made a marvelous save and held on to the puck. No rebound. You're going to see the Rangers move the puck around. Now watch Leach here, behind his back to Driver. Graves will set up in front. Here he comes. He loses Coffey, so he gets the deflection. And you see Hextall hang on to the rebound, makes a marvelous save. Watch Graves, a spin around. Now he avoids Coffey, gets a stick down. Here's the deflection. And Hextall makes a great save at the top of the goal crease on the deflection.
Well, history tells us that the agitated approach has worked for Ron Hextall. It does not work for many goaltenders, but it has for him. Banging the pipes with his stick, that tremendous bit of nervous concentration during the warm-up as well as during the anthem before the game.
All these years of great focus, he's been able to retain that. Continue to keep his enthusiasm, still handles the puck maybe even better than ever, actually.
Held along by Therrien, bumped by Vorobiev. Meanwhile, it's played back up now for Vladimir Vorobiev. Only a couple of weeks in the league. Here's Messier moving in. Messier backhanded it behind, drilled back off by Klatt. 3 seconds left on the minor penalty, and out of the box. If they can get it open, it's Pat Falloon. The fans were starting to complain. They said, this thing's over, and he's not out.
So credit Hextall with one real good save on the deflection by Graves, and the Flyers with good aggressive penalty kill.
Lindros the hit, and Karpovtsev went down. This is Nemchinov. The hitting picks up. 1-0 Rangers on a goal by Nicklas Sundstrom. Ricocheted off flatly, steered along to Lindros, and he was banged into by Karpovtsev.
Boy, Mike, we've seen Lindros play against 3 different lines already, but it's the same defense pairing for the Rangers, and the collisions, the Richter scale, it's 7 or 8 on the Richter scale. Man.
In a stoppage of play. Again. 3 shots in the game. Mike Richter has not felt one in the Ranger cage yet, but boy, the boards have had a lot.
Been a lot more hitting than there has been shooting to this point. Eric Lindros has seen Messier, he's seen Gretzky, he's seen Nemchinov, and now he's going to see Karpovtsev as he had to look down at the puck that was in his skates. And he looked up at the last moment to try to take the majority of the check along the boards by Karpovtsev. So the Rangers using Karpovtsev and Samuelsson. And remember, they haven't played since Monday, so they've got to be well rested. And they've got a big, big job to go against these guys. Remember, with the Lindros line, with Leclerc and Zoubras, they'll throw their hits, too. Oh, this one. That's a big hit on Karpovtsev from Lindros. Good clean hitting, Mike.
Indeed. In a new arena, usually the boards and the glass are a lot stiffer than they are in the older places, like across the parking lot here at the Spectrum. They're a little looser now than when we started.
Say, they won't be quite as stiff when this game's over. Nemchinov, and here comes ethyl, the ethyl chloride, or the spray stuff that makes it you get cold and frees up the injury. So already he's banged up. Looks like something with his foot.
The hits thus far, 7-6 Flyers. The goals, 1-0 Rangers. The shots, 3-0 Rangers. Big Jeff Beukeboom lugging it ahead. John Leclerc watching him. From 90, it's for Hextall.
Rangers changing again for the matchup. Terry Murray trying to get the Lindros line. Lots of ice time here now after the penalty kill. They stay on the ice.
Enema back up the boards. Lindros with the shoulder of Samuelsson. Wayne Gretzky with it. Gretzky floated it across. Paul Coffey up with it there, and we have a stoppage of play. The puck played by a high stick. It had been wiped out by the referee, but it counted.
How many times are we going to see this today? Samuelsson, he actually tried to be the hitter, but it was Lindros who did the hitting. Mike, we talked to Terry Murray this morning, the head coach of the Flyers, and he was talking about something John Madden said in the Super Bowl.
Backhander by Renberg blocked off. That wasn't what John said, although he might very well have looked ahead to this. Centering pass again for Otto on backdoor. Shovel shot by Therrien, and that one deflected away, and then a pileup as Podine wound up on Richter. We'll get to Mr. Madden in a moment. We get a stoppage of play on an offside. In talking about the Super Bowl game as it unfolded, you try to execute your game plan, and then it doesn't work. And the next thing is panic. And the next thing after that is frustration.
And Terry told us that last Saturday against Detroit, and that was seen on Fox, his team got frustrated by the Detroit Red Wings. Now, my question here is, you see Samuelsson and Karpovtsev really trying to play in the face of Eric Lindros. Will Lindros get frustrated? I don't think so. So far, it's been a real good matchup. Renberg's in front. He's on the third line. He hasn't been scoring. And credit Richter for moving out to be right up tight against Renberg for the deflection. And he made the save. Again, look at Richter move right out and close everything up. Boy, that looked like one of the saves he made in the Canada, or the World Cup for Team USA, beating Canada.
Well, credit Richter's MasterCard account. Well, not credit, debit for about 1,000 because he had to buy 13 tickets here today. And this is one of the hardest tickets in hockey this year to get. Here's Gretzky around behind. Fed one in front. It was awful. Samuelsson stick. And it's laid back out again by Dina Zubris. So it's Karpovtsev. 11 minutes, 52 seconds to go first period. 1-0 here at the Core State Center. The lone goal in the game from Sundstrom. Wayne Gretzky getting the only assist just 103 seconds in. Zubris trying to shake his way by. Moving in is Leclerc. Back for Dina Zubris. Eludes Gretzky. Trying to feed close quarters to Lindros, and it's hacked away to the corner. Sundstrom there, and he just pitchforks it out. They've got a 2-on-1. Moving up is Robitaille with Gretzky. Gave it to him. Gretzky fires, and it got the glass. So now Sundstrom working it on indeed. Checked off was Robitaille. Down to the ice he spun, and Coffey nubbed it behind. Sundstrom with a feed, and Messier couldn't come up with it. Dealt back to the point. Cairns a shot, and that hit someone in front. So now Leclerc heeling it on to Pat Falloon, and dealt back in. That Gretzky puck waffle a little bit.
Yeah, it was right on edge when he took the shot, Mike. What's interesting is that so far Gretzky and his lack of size hasn't been bothered by the two times he's been on the ice against Lindros. Lindros has not been able to do anything against the Gretzky line yet. It's awfully early.
Bruce Driver chipped it away from Falloon, and the Rangers move it back out again. Well, we have a scrap at the front of the net.
Cairns and Kordic. Kordic's left-handed, and he gets and surprises Cairns. And Cairns threw the first 2 or 3, and then Kordic threw with the left hand and ended up getting the decision. So Cairns, the rookie for the Rangers, coming into a hostile building, has been involved with 2 of the Flyer tough guys already. Wow, this is a battle.
The Southpaw surprise. When Brendan Shanahan and the Red Wings travel to Pittsburgh to face off against Mario Lemieux and the Penguins. Plus other exciting regional action. All begins at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. Right here on Fox. Cairns and Kordic. 5 minutes for fighting.
For Detroit, Chris Osgood back and practicing hard. The goaltender appears to be healthy for Detroit. Fedorov has not responded to treatment that much yet, Mike, and that's a growing concern with Detroit.
This is Messier feeding it back to Leach. Leach controls and shoots one, and that one blocked right back. Now Bukaboom fanned on his shooting attempt. And the Flyers try to shift from defense to offense and get it up to Falloon. Down to the ice went Lacroix.
And that was Jeff Bukaboom knocked him down. Lacroix wants Bukaboom. This is our 3rd scrap. The original penalty was going to Bukaboom as he pulled Lacroix down. The first 2 games that these 2 teams played were at Madison Square Garden, a 1-1 tie and a 2-1 Philadelphia win. There was no fights at all. Here in the first 10 minutes, we've had 3. Man.
If it matters, Philadelphia has now moved into a tie with Buffalo for the most majors for fighting. And Buffalo is idle today. Now for a Pizza Hut game break, let's go to James Brown at our Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Doc, Penguins scored first in this game. Take a look off the face-off. The shot comes from the point off the stick of Cliff Ronning, a wide-open Mario Lemieux. 35th goal of the season, 2 away from 600, but we're all tied. Back to Doc Emrick and JD.
Mike, we should get a petition going to keep Lemieux from retirement for next year. Now you'll see Bukaboom up here. I think he was going to get the original penalty. Is he there? Knocks down Lacroix. The referee's arms up. Now Lacroix's mad. He goes back at Bukaboom, and they dropped their gloves and started the scrap. So the original 2 minutes going to Bukaboom will give the Flyers a power play. Again, we can see that they kind of said something to each other, and the gloves came off at the same time. And Lacroix did a pretty good job. Ooh, Bukaboom there with a big right. Lacroix got back up, and he went back at it.
How many signatures do you think it had taken to change his mind?
Mario?
Yeah.
I don't know, but we could arrange it.
We can get $250,000 in Pittsburgh probably next weekend.
I think the whole league, both countries, should get involved in trying to keep Mario playing. What a marvelous season he's having.
He's only 31, but he has battled and won from an awful lot of obstacles. Primarily still some back problems, but when you consider Hodgkin's and you consider some other maladies, plus his family, the arrival of his third child was not the easiest thing in the world, and there were concerns about how well the child would be and whether it would in fact survive. That crisis has been passed too, so there may be more than just 31 years on that frame.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And he wants to look forward to having a good time the rest of the way.
Well, sure.
Wayne Gretzky moves across to serve the additional minors. The Rangers finally get somebody into the penalty box. Now the linesman can get busy to drop the puck for the 20th ranked power play, but coaches for Philadelphia feel it's getting better because Coffey's getting used to playing with these guys. Watch this guy shoot, Mike.
Coffey to Niinema, back to Coffey again, through Lindros, Leclerc, but Karpatsev and back down.
I asked Ulf Samuelsson yesterday, how hard is it to move Leclerc from in front of the net? He says, it's almost impossible. It's like he's got roots that go right into the ice surface and into the cement floor like a big tree. You can't move him.
It is Brind'Amour back to Leclerc. The big tree rolling it along. Forced back by Karpatsev. Karpatsev again, one-handed it off the back of Brind'Amour. It's punched on through. Lindros back to Leclerc. Leclerc fed it to Niinema. Niinema to Coffey. Lindros. Coffey. Save made by Richter. The tip in front by Brind'Amour. Around behind. A shot by Leclerc was blocked by Richter, and we get a stoppage of play.
Either the net was off the mooring or the referee, Walcom, lost sight of the puck, so he blew the whistle. Amazing shot by Coffey. He hardly took the backswing of the stick. Bobby Orr is the best I ever saw. He used to bring the stick back, not even to his waist, and then get all the velocity in the world on the shot. Coffey took the shot from the point that Brind'Amour may have touched. Richter saw it at the last second, but what a release. Coffey's back at the blue line. Look at that little short backswing. Not even to his waist. It hit the Ranger forward way up high. That's why he changed direction. Look at Coffey. He's back to the waist, threw the puck. Messier kicked the puck, and then Richter, a great reaction on top of the goal crease. Richter's had good position so far in the game. What a release of the shot by Paul Coffey.
And we saw a tremendous example of what you were talking about with Leclerc. He almost muscled that in at the side of the net and knocked the net off, which stopped play.
Lindros is talking to the referee up at the scoreboard or at the scoring area. I'm not quite sure what it was about. Still don't know.
Well, it's funny, the change in character in a game, the previous two games, which the Flyers won one and also tied one.
60 minutes, 65 minutes actually prior to today, 30 minutes. 17 and a half, 18 and a half minutes so far. We've already passed it, Mike.
I don't think anybody here is complaining.
No, this
about
is
that
hockey
either.
right here, man. There's a lot of passion. A lot of passion here with both these clubs.
Well, this delay continues to go on, and I'm not clear as to why. They're hanging up a phone down below, and
the time on the clock may be out of whack. They're now checking with the operator of the scoreboard. I've got a calculator here, Mike. I'm not good with just doing it with my fingers.
Do you have a stopwatch built into it? Maybe we can build it into that.
Yeah, there's supposed to be. We all of a sudden, I mean, that says 1:31. I think it should be somewhere around 8 or 9 minutes left in the period, isn't it? It caught me. I said 17 and a half minutes a bit ago. Look at look at this. We got it right. 9:16. Or at least nice to be a part of, after getting it wrong, nice to be a part of somebody that's got it right. Talking about myself.
Bukaboom had the cross-check at 9:51.
Yeah,
I don't jump in on numbers at all. I've had too many tax audits. No, I haven't really, but I don't figure my own. Well, Colin Campbell is getting an explanation of all this. 59 seconds left on the minor penalty that's outstanding to Bukaboom. And Steve Walcom, the 33-year-old referee from North Bay, Ontario, is satisfied with what he's got here. The big clock at center ice still shows 1:31. Trust us. Go with the 9:16. Hey, even in the newest arenas, right?
Yeah, beautiful new arena here in Philadelphia. We've had over 1 million people in this building with all the various sports and events already this year.
They were telling us today there are 126 suites, and the reason that the attendance figures will vary is that each suite holder is allowed to buy half of the number of seats in addition in standing room, because there's room to stand inside the suites. So they had 200 over the listed capacity for last Saturday's game with Detroit, which was the biggest crowd, and this one will be bigger than that. Coffee to Brind'Amour. Fed for Lindros by LeClaire, and it's dealt back off by the Rangers.
A good read by Bruce Driver. The Rangers now change quickly, and the Flyers continue to try to use that top unit of 5 people.
LeClaire knocked down. Lindros follows ahead. Fed one in front and went away from Brind'Amour. Coffee a shot, and that one went wide. 10 seconds left on the power play. Lindros walking on in, controlling, but not getting an opportunity. Lindros looking again, fed it across. Oh, and it's blocked by Richter. A shot by Brind'Amour, and moving along as Niedermayer play it through Lindros and behind. Centering pass in front, shake that, hit another time by LeClaire, and blocked off by Richter.
Brind'Amour and Samuelsson really had a head-to-head battle.
Here's Gretzky one-on-one with Coffey. Off the nub of the stick of Hextall, a 71-mile-an-hour shot by Gretzky. Teams are back at full strength. Shots in the game are 4-4. It's dealt in deep, and it hit a loose helmet. Hodin centers, and Richter sticked it away. Rebound jabbed away to the other corner. It's Joel Otto, but it's cut by Gretzky. He's got Messier breaking. It's tipped along, and Therrien chased off Messier. The play would have been offside. Back now come the Flyers. Brenberg trying to step in. Watched by Leach, and patted away by Richter. Therrien a shot that ricocheted off Robitaille. Therrien feverishly trying to keep it. We get a stoppage of play and a penalty coming up. It's on Therrien. He's steamed. We'll be back.
Hear different sounds. Now there's a helmet sitting on the ice. Hockey normally doesn't sound like this. It sounded like a billiard shot.
It did. It sounded like a stick.
Here's how the helmet got there. Samuelsson and Brind'Amour had one rough battle, and Samuelsson has played a strong first period in that respect. Watch Therrien there move into Robitaille, and you can see he just pulled the feet out from underneath Robitaille, so the Flyers get Therrien into the penalty box.
It's a trip at 12:41, but it's Hodin, and a save, and another shot, and a save, and another one bounced wide. A shorthanded, terrific cluster of opportunities for Philadelphia. So now the Rangers on their second power play of the game. Wayne Gretzky had a little trouble handling, but steps ahead with it. Gretzky flipped it through, moving for it for Robia. Jammed it on his backhand behind, drilled off by Coffey. Kept by Driver, but he has to play in neutral ice. Hit by Otto. On comes Codine again with Coffey. Got it to him. Coffey shot blocked away by Leach. Around behind, Codine went for it, but instead emerging is Robitaille, laying a long pass ahead for Vorobia. But then Coffey. Hacked out of the air by Klatt.
A Flyer power play, they didn't score, but they got their game in line, plus a couple of the scraps that got the fans involved. The Flyers are going now. They've had 8 of the last 9 shots on goal, including a couple, maybe even 3 was shorthanded, especially Bodine. Bodine, who's had a strong season, and he's starting to score again for the Flyers. And this is really a game that's starting to go the Flyers' way, even though they trail 1-0.
In the matchups, we were talking about what might happen if Wayne Gretzky were out against Eric Lindros.
But you know, Gretzky's +1 and Eric Lindros is -1, so that hasn't made much of an effect so far to the game on the Flyers side. There's a good face-off win by Brind'Amour, who is the best face-off guy for the Flyers.
Boy, if it goes one more that way, it might not be tried by Philadelphia the rest of the day, too. Rod Brind'Amour is just one of the heart guys who suffered through the bad years here. He was about the only leader that they had during that time, and was a representative on the All-Star team, and became much loved because he was so intense, so upfront on a team that was sub 500, and for rare time in Philadelphia history, repeatedly 4 years in a row missed the playoffs.
He was asked to do so much when Lindros was out. He ended up starting the season -13. He's now a -2. So that area is really improved for him. Again, he's a good penalty killer. Does extremely well on face-offs. A valuable member of the Flyers.
It is Karpatsev dubbing his shot. Came back to him off Coffey. 43 to go on the power play. And it's Messier. Karpatsev back across. Brian Leetch walking it ahead. Hands back to Karpatsev.
30 seconds.
Backhand grab by Hextall. No matter, it was offside anyway. So 28 left on the kill. That's been very uneventful for the Rangers. Quite eventful for the Flyers.
Yeah, I think that's what the Flyers want. You know, they lost Kjell Samuelsson to the injury, and they found Michel Petit to help kill penalties for them. And when you find a Michel Petit, you get a big, rugged defenseman who last season played. There's a look at Michel. Last season played for Tampa Bay, and they had a good playoff series with the Flyers. And as Michel Petit, via the waiver wire from Edmonton, came to Philadelphia, Terry Murray told him, so just play like you did last year against us in the playoffs and stay away from bad penalties. And so far, Petit has really helped them, especially the penalty kill in the rugged area.
Here's Leetch bringing it back in for the Rangers. Leetch centered. It came on back to Vorobiev. Walks in and shoots. Kicked off by Hextall and sent to the corner by Desjardins. Now Messier on back to the point. Driver a shot. Shanked over to Vorobiev. He tried the short side and missed. Down to the last 3 of the power play. Graves fires and it went wide. Penalty time is up. Therrien is out of the box. The teams are back at full strength. 5:13 to go, first period. Terrific contest here at the Coors State Center. 1-0 in favor of the Rangers. It's Vorobiev beating to the slot. Samuelsson a shot. Oh, and it deflected and went wide. Now Vorobiev held back, tries to one-hand it off the back of the goal. Up picked up by Messier. Messier cruising, drops it on over for Leetch. Wristed in front by Samuelsson, and that deflected away and then cleared back down.
That's what happens when you win loose puck battles along the boards, and the Rangers won them. However, every time they took a shot, one of the Flyers deflected the puck wide. Board work. You see the 2-on-2 along the boards. Watch what the Flyers do with Coffey. He sees the loose puck. Now all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1 in there. So Vorobiev comes right off the boards with the puck, and then a great job as the puck never got through. I believe that was blocked by Sean Podine. Podine had a wonderful penalty killing shift, then had to stay on the ice because the Rangers pinned them in the zone, and then he ended up doing a nice job blocking the shot.
Aaron Rumble rolls it around. Boy, he fits in this game, at least with his name, doesn't he? Rumble around behind with number 5, dumping it back over for Kordic. It's Lacroix. Got some meanness out here now for the Flyers again. Falloon trying to work his way through.
And remember, if Cairns has another fight, that's an automatic attack on a penalty minutes, is it not?
Yep, third major penalty for fighting. But see him tossed out. Kordic trying to step by, chopped away by Driver. Lacroix nudged it in front, and it came dangerously close to Richter. Brought back up by Pat Flatley. Tried for Robitaille. Tucked right back out again near Bruce Driver, and both teams are making a change. 3:55 left in the first period. Glad you've joined us this afternoon on Fox's coverage of the NHL. From Philadelphia, it's the New York Rangers and the Flyers. Driver shot right in on goal. Handled by Hextall. A neutral ice drive of 82 miles an hour. Held around behind for Paul Coffey. Smooth skating defenseman connects back on with John LeClair. LeClair angles for the Zubris corner, but instead it is Samuelsson. Dumped it on now for Sundstrom. Coffey on him. Sundstrom, the only goal scorer in this game, gave it to Karpatsev. Alexander Karpatsev threw it ahead to Gretzky, able to peel off, and now drop it back in. Zubris patrolling back on defense for Philadelphia. Dropped it off of Sundstrom, but it's knocked away by Coffey. Pretty carefully played right now. Still the odd collision, but not what we were seeing earlier. Lindros hooked off by Samuelsson. Nearly 20,000 referees wanted a penalty. Here's LeClair moving in. Big shot, saved by Richter. High to the air it goes. Messier dealing, and another shot by LeClair on a strong backhand was saved by Richter. Now back on with it come the Rangers. Working ahead is Brian Leetch trying to worm his way by. Crosses, can't get to it. It's swept away by Desjardins. Laid off the glass and Messier closed off. Ahead now comes Platt, wristing it wide. Chopped at by Daniels. Leetch sped it back off, and here comes Messier. Mark Messier, captain of the Rangers, spinning. Graves goes to the front of the net. It's dealt off to Cairns for a shot, sticked aside calmly by Hextall, who could see it all the way. Brind'Amour, Desjardins. And the Flyers turn their attention to the other end with Scott Daniels, dropping it back over for a drive back in by Klatt as both teams again make a change. Scoreboard clock working, just as the box clock has all along. And you see it's under 2 minutes to go. This is Cairns once more. Flyers had a stretch when they were unbeaten in 17. But they were only 2 above 500 in the 23 games that Eric Lindros missed. When he came back, boy, did they ever go on a tear. It's the longest unbeaten string this year in the NHL. At home, they're just 6 above 500. Oh, and a thundering hit will result in a penalty to the Rangers. Joel Otto on the delayed call. Down he goes, the Rangers touch. And with 1:21 to go in the first period, it'll be a Flyers power play.
He tries to hold up into the midsection, but then it's the arm and the twist. Lindros went down. That was not a penalty. And later, Berg was given one as he pulled down Petit.
The interference at 18:39. On the last power play in which the Flyers failed, they had 1:15 of attack time. Puck played by a high stick. They had 2 shots, so they're 0 for 1 on the power play today. During the first intermission, James Brown and Dave Maloney will bring you all the scores and highlights from around the league. Also, Rangers left winger Adam Graves fulfills a boy's dream while playing a little 2-on-2 inside the cyber zone. That's all coming up during the first intermission. We talk an awful lot about the quality of the people in this sport. It's pretty hard to match Adam Graves, but in each city there seemingly is somebody who can.
Yeah, you bet. Each city there's somebody does a lot. Well, the Flyers tomorrow, their wives get involved in Carnival. They've raised over $8 million over the last 20 years.
They are preparing for that as we speak down in one of the rooms below. Here's Lindros feeding it across. Oh, and a robbery by Richter. Bang, bang, play, and he got it.
You know, when a player's on the backhand, it triggers the goaltender saying he's going to pass the puck. That's at least 3 shots, maybe 4 that Leclerc has had so far on Mike Richter. Richter grew up here in the Philadelphia area. Watch Lindros move down the ice as he gets rid of his Czech Bukabo. He's on the backhand. Richter, one push with his right leg, and Leclerc actually put the puck back into Richter more than anything else it looked like on the replay. Richter has strong legs. One push, he's across, and he takes the Leclerc shot right into the logo, right into Later Liberty, right on the chest of Richter. There you see Leclerc putting the puck basically back into Mike Richter. Great save, great pass, great shot, great everything. And Richter made it look good.
Those are the 3rd jerseys that the Rangers are wearing today and wore in Pittsburgh last week. Coffey a shot. That one nubbed across. Lindros, save Richter. And he covers and holds.
Samuelsson trying to get Lindros frustrated more than anything else here. Even after the whistle, Samuelsson moved right into Lindros. And he's trying to get Lindros going, and Lindros is not going for the bait like he did last Saturday against Konstantinov with Detroit. Now you'll see the Rangers going head-to-head on the draw. As we roll it, we'll see what happens here. It's a win by the Rangers. Now, if we stop it, you'll see how right over here already there's a defenseman. That's Coffey, smartly over there waiting for the puck. He gets it, and look at the far side of the ice. There he is, Lindros. Boy, the puck was moved nicely by the Flyers, but Richter is there.
Karpatsev put it out of play at the Rangers bench. You know, we were talking about the quality of the individuals who play this game. As you see, Ulf Samuelsson, one of the real characters. John Leclerc will receive an award on Monday, the Humanitarian Award from the Philadelphia Sports Writers for his founding of the John Leclerc Fund up in St. Albans, Vermont. It's dedicated to providing opportunities for young people in Vermont. They are very proud of him up there, and all of the telecasts at 11 o'clock always speak of not only the Flyers score, but how John did in the game. That's for the state. That's all the telecasts in the state. That's not just one area. I mean, they're proud of this guy, the first guy to come out of the state and be in the NHL. Puck worked back to the point now. Niinema winds up and shoots, and it went wide. 16 to go in the period. Coffey put it in front, but it was spiked away by the defense. Hurried along now for Sundstrom, and it's sent back down the ice. So Hextall, he's a good passer. What'll he do? Slugs it on to Coffey. 5 seconds left. Led to Leclerc. Knocked away. Controlling his balloon, but his shot was just snapped away by Leach. And the period ends.
Second half of the period, the Flyers got their game going pretty well. For the Rangers, we talked about not as big, not as fast. I thought they did very well in competing with the Flyers with the one-on-one battles along the boards and 4 loose pucks.
End of the first period with a score. The Rangers 1, the Flyers nothing. James Brown, Dave Maloney will be along Hollywood after these messages. And a word from your local Fox station. When the fans in Philadelphia bought the tickets for this one in record numbers, they wouldn't change a thing except maybe this score right now. Lots of pounding, lots of thumping, and only 1 goal scored.
Yeah, you know, the Flyers had 12 shots on the period. They had 3 shorthanded and 4 on the power play. That's 7 of their 12, only 5 at even strength. I think they'd like to pick up their game a little bit in that area. For the Rangers, you just can't keep giving the Philadelphia Flyers chances on the power play, because sooner or later, especially with Lindros and Coffey and Leclerc, these types of guys, they'll score.
We had a chance to chat with Colin Campbell at the end of that first period and ask him specifically whether he was satisfied with the line matches that he got.
Well, we got him as much as we could. It looks like they want Lindros against Gretzky for the first time this year, and that's what you're going to see probably the rest of the game.
Did the 3 battles change anything in the game, Colin?
Well, it's certainly part and parcel of Philadelphia and New York meeting each other, and I think both benches get their surge, but I don't think it really had an effect on the game so far.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well, the scraps that took place will cause that tall penalty minute total to show up there at the bottom, 19 apiece, 12 shots on goal to 7, the advantage Philadelphia. Scoring chances were 9-3 in favor of the Flyers, and the faceoffs 15-9. So those are the statistics brought to you by Bud Ice. So do we see a little more rock'em sock'em here at the start of the second? I realize that we're going into this thing with the Rangers winding up with a guy in the penalty box rather, in Berg.
Yeah, Mike, to start the second period, the Rangers have really, a little souvenir there. The Rangers have really tried to again get Samuelsson and Karpovtsev for the Eric Lindros line. Now they're going to have a tougher time doing it here in the second period, simply because the Rangers bench is past center ice. The Rangers defense will be playing way down at the other end of the ice. It's going to be a tough period for them to get the matchup. I think Terry Murray will use his big boys quite a bit here in the second period. They start the power play. Brind'Amour moves up on the right side.
You see the Rangers at their bench. Periods of time this year, both of these teams have struggled. The Philadelphia struggle occurred primarily early, and largely when Eric Lindros was not in the lineup. Back ahead now comes Brind'Amour on this power play. Brind'Amour to Lindros, a backhander, and it floated wide. Came back to the point. Coffey tried to slug one around. It went over for Lindros, who tapped to the back of the net, sent away by Karpovtsev. Rolled back in by Coffey, drilled the other way by Karpovtsev, but right into Leclerc. Kicked it behind. Lindros flexed it to the glass. Now Brind'Amour again, helped it on back to the point. Paul Coffey able to keep it in there, working it on for Brind'Amour. Walking in, fed it to the back. Niinema shooting, and that one blocked down, trapped for a moment, then yanked through by Messier, but dealt back on, and fresh from the box to turn it out was Berg. So the teams are back at full strength.
And Messier limps to the Rangers bench after going down to block the shot. He's a little sore.
59 seconds of attack time on the power play, and 2 shots on goal on the man advantage for the Flyers. Richter right near another stray helmet found its way into the game. Otto put it in front. A rising shot by Renberg was off the mark. Therrien comes in. Pretty good hit. Stick it. Sundstrom went flying from that force. Thrown back off of Robitaille. Corralled in the backhander. Ricocheted over near Robitaille. It's on back for a shot by Desjardins, and getting his pad on it was Richter. 74-mile-an-hour shot, centering pass in front, and an attempt was made by Podine, but he could not get a good shot away.
Hard-working line for the Flyers. Otto, Podine, and Renberg. They did what the Flyers wanted. They need to up-tempo their game and get the forecheck going, and they did that.
Renberg over for Lacroix, shot that stick to the glass. Fed right back off. Sundstrom trying to get to it. The Flyers with the help of the power play, but also since we've gone back to even strength have had some control here. That might change. On comes Leach. Drops it back to Nemchinov, to Leach again. Leach curling around from behind. Leach with a backhander that's cut off and started out by Desjardins. Away from Falloon, guided on by Driver. Kordic rams into his man, but escaping. Playing it on a cross with Flatley. Drilled back in was Langdon, and was he ever hit by Falloon?
He exposed his body because he had to handle a puck, and that was a clean hit by Falloon.
And we get an icing touch-up.
You know, when you reach for the puck, that means you can't protect yourself. And Falloon, who's not that big, in fact, one of the smaller Flyers, he moved across on a big tough guy in Darren Langdon, and watch the body contact here. Man, that was a pushing hard hit. And Langdon was 4 feet off the boards. And as soon as he reaches for the puck, he's shoved from the side, and he was, man, banged into the boards, and he appears to be okay. Over at the Rangers bench, another look at it. Shoving it almost from behind, but I don't think it was. It was more from the side than from behind. The referee was standing right there and made the appropriate call, which was no call.
Falloon, a rarity on this team. He's 5'11", so he's under 6 feet, and he's also under 200 pounds at 190. Puck played by Graves. Backhander. Went loose off of Clarion. Played to the side of the net. Gotten by Rumble. Worked back ahead. Flyers attack, and it's Pat Falloon again. Cannot get in. It's off Pat Flatley. Flatley looking for help, and he got it. So Cairns tried to spirit it to Flatley. Michel Petit going back. Jostles with Lacroix. Petit rammed by Lacroix, and it's dealt back on. Falloon got it as far as Brindamore, but Cairns was in the way. Follow up from Rumble, who moves it in. Flat roll block. Goes down. Pass back for Petit, who banged it back in.
Oh, man. Luan just hit one of the Flyers, knocked it right into his bench. That was Michel Petit, right over the boards.
He's back.
He's back.
It's remarkable.
No harm, no foul. Michel Petit's back on the ice, but he got knocked right over top. There was no glass there to hold him into the ice area, and he went right over top of the boards.
This is Lindros turning with it, handing it on to Petit. Then back for Lindros once more. Penalty coming up. Lindros pulling behind and threw it in front. It's touched, and down on the ice is Petit.
Michel Petit, as he goes over towards the Flyers bench, the puck is there. There's a hit, and there goes Michel right over the boards. But he came back on the ice, was very involved on the shift, and there's the stick right into the chest. A spearing motion by Cairns, and he takes the penalty. Lindros, when the whistle sounded, Blouin went up to him and tried to get Eric off the balance of his game. And so far, Lindros has kept his composure very well. A 2-minute minor to Cairns. He's fortunate that it was only a 2-minute minor as he jabbed with the blade of his stick into the chest of Petit, who was throwing his hands up and saying only a 2-minute penalty. It's a slash and not a spear. And a liberal call.
Felt like 4 or 5 to him, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, liberal call there.
Flyers 0 for 2 on their power play with 4 shots. So Hextall setting it for Coffey with Nienema. They'll be the 2-point men. Lindros up front along with John LeClair and Rod Brindamore. Karpatsev taking over for the Rangers, drilled it back off, it ricocheted to Graves. Graves looking ahead, got it on to Mark Messier. Messier with a shot, getting a piece of it, Hextall, and it flew to the glass.
Went off the inside of Hextall's goal stick. Messier and Graves have combined for 9 shorthanded goals on the season for the Rangers.
Figure all of Messier's shorthanders have been shot the very same way like that one was.
He pumps his leg and takes the wrist shot. Notice, too, that the Rangers, when they dump the puck into the Flyers zone, even on the penalty kill, they're going to the stick side of Hextall, making him not be able to go to his left and use the ferocious wrist shot that he has. They're making him go to his right and use his stick on the backside.
Lindros back up to play again, and along comes Bukaboom. Could not clear it out. Sundstrom trying to help. Bukaboom covered, and now he comes back at Lindros for pushing the stick into him.
Bukaboom was over top of the puck, and he is giving it to the referee because Lindros kept jabbing and jabbing and jabbing as the puck was underneath Bukaboom. That's more the responsibility of the referee. The sooner you blow the whistle, the less jabbing there'll be. If there's no whistle, the player will keep jabbing, trying to retrieve the puck.
Boy, there's a snarl quotient that's really gone up this period from the first.
Lindros and Bukaboom, they establish position. Now Bukaboom will end up on top of the puck, and Lindros will end up jabbing at it in the corner, and that's what got everybody all upset. These are battles along the boards, and the Rangers on the penalty kill going a pretty good job. You know, they got new helmets in the league right now. They've got a lot thicker padding, and even at the top portion of the helmets, we look from the inside up. That padding is very thick. It's very light. Lindros, Graves, some of the players throughout the league wearing them.
Coffey a shot, and that one went just wide. Desjardins worked it along and got it back again. Desjardins the opposite side to Paul Coffey, over to Michael Renberg. Renberg a wrist shot, pad stop Richter, rebound, feverishly worked in front, but then controlled by Leach. Leach dumped it back off for the Rangers, moving in as Desjardins. Desjardins around behind. Renberg tried to center, but denied by the defense, and it's cleared back out. 28 left on the penalty kill. 1-0 in favor of the Rangers. Early stages, second period here at Coors State Center in Philadelphia. The largest crowd to ever watch a hockey game in Philadelphia is here today. Richter stopped it around behind. Leach scaled it back off the boards. Kept alive by Falloon. Desjardins worked it along. Renberg there. Feeds it across. Coffey. Desjardins. Wrist shot deflected wide by the Rangers defense. Played by Renberg again. Held it on in deep. Penalty time is up. Moving back in the play is Cairns. It's fed to the slot and a shot tipped to the glass. Around behind trying to get to it. And up with it now is Falloon. Back to the point. Rumble has it. Shoots one that went wide. And now the Rangers can recover from the kill as Cairns lumbers back to center ice and just flops it in.
Again, see where he put the puck? He put it on the stick side of Hextall. So Hextall has to play it and not getting the real quick pass up ice on the forehand side of his goal stick.
This is Otto. And a save Richter. Chopped to the boards, but the Flyers with the read, and Podine had it jabbed away by Richter. Tipped in front for Driver. 39 seconds of attack time in the 2 minutes for the Flyers, and just one shot. So the Ranger penalty kill has been strong. Controlled by Rumble and floated high. Two teams are not changing lines right now. It's Daniels out there. Some of the Thumpers are playing. Robitaille back to Ulf Samuelsson. Now the Flyers in the midst of a change trying to answer that as Daniels gave it on to Lindros. Lindros moving it in, but the pass just too far for Leclerc, who chumps one off the goal stick of Richter.
The Flyers go to the net with the puck, even from the bad angles. Lindros just gave Samuelsson a good shot in behind the play as that starts to fester, that matchup.
Here comes John Leclerc with a drive, and it's held by Richter, a 91-mile-an-hour torture. And we'll be back.
Down, the referee watched it and said, "Play on, boys," and we've seen a lot of that.
If you're new to hockey, this is a tradition-rich matchup that's like the Packers and the Bears, and then the emergency unit in the hospital the next day. Good drive by Desjardins.
Some of us were lucky enough to play it. It was marvelous playing against Philadelphia, especially in the old Spectre. Like it was like a flat-out old war zone.
Leclerc hacked one wide. Samuelsson and Lindros test the boards in glass. And it's Gray flipping, but it's kept by Desjardins. Has a man in front. Supras couldn't get it to him. Wolf Samuelsson tries it the other way. Barovia run off by the defense. It's worked back on, but thrown to the front for Richter to grab, and so he'll wait. And a little play acting. That's at least what Ulf Samuelsson is saying.
That's what it looked like as the whistle sounded. Samuelsson and Lindros met, and Lindros went right down, I think, trying to draw a penalty. And Wacom has really let these guys go head-to-head. You know, the Flyers really like to go to the net a lot. There's a stick through the legs, and Lindros throwing his legs up to try to draw a penalty, trying to make it like it was a spear, which was not. Flyers go to the net a lot, Mike, and this season we've seen a lot of goals scored where say hypothetically the puck went in this side. We see a skate just inside the crease there. It's no goal if the skate was in there first. What I think they should do is take and see these little marks right there, right there. There's the old crease, the way they used to keep it. Paint that back in. Paint it back in, and on top of that, keep this one here also. So if a player scores a goal and his skate's in there, let it be allowed. However, use that area still as protection for the goaltenders, but make this the area, the rectangle, as the area that's where the skate is not allowed to be. The opposition player is not allowed to precede the puck into there, and I think we'd have a little bit more scoring, and in turn have a better qualification of the way the rules read.
That's a great observation, and somewhere Billy Smith is watching and revoking your union card right now. Thrown to the front, and it went off Daniels, and it's trapped by Richter.
Flyer forechecking is really starting to go here. They're starting to cycle. They're starting to use the boards, and they're starting to generate hit after hit after hit. Now, remember, the Rangers haven't played since Monday, so I don't know if they'll wear down, you know, physically or mentally. But if the puck stays in the end like this for a long period of time, even Mike Richter's not going to be able to keep it out. And he's been marvelous here this afternoon.
Colin Campbell rested players for 3 days this week, Leach and Gretzky and Messier. Do you think he should rest them games as you get down near the end of the season, since these guys were all in the World Cup last fall?
And the Rangers' schedule is quite lax throughout the rest of the season compared to the first half, so I think they'll get their rest. The day of a game, he does not make the players such as Leach or Messier or Gretzky skate. Richter doesn't make him skate. So they do manage, I think, quite well with their time off, as do most teams in this league with their star players.
Save made by Richter on Darren Rumble. Langdon flips it ahead. Luan after Rumble, but it's played on to Kordic. Steamed it back to Petit.
There we go, Langdon and Kordic way at the other end of the ice. Now, again, we've said this many times. Darren Langdon will just sort of sit back and wait, and wait, and wait, and then he's a second-half scrapper as Kordic. Man, does he look strong. Now he's trying to get his hand loose. Kordic looks like he's going to go left. Now Langdon goes left.
Nothing much yet, but if he's a second-half finisher, this is when it starts to get better for him. Now he comes through with some rights that missed.
Well, Kordic is a big, big kid. Kordic here looks like he's very fit now. Kordic taking deep breaths. Langdon's a second-half scrapper. He did a good job the other night against Chicago when he fought Probert. There's a left hand loose. Yeah, he throws him with both hands. Oh, there's a big left. Well, you don't see many guys switch hands like that, Mike.
Oh, he's coming back with some rights.
Oh, he's landed 3 in a row now.
What a scrap. And the linesmen are just letting him go, and now they'll move in. No one has left for soda or coffee.
Both teams' benches applauding their own players. That, folks, was a heavyweight battle.
Major league.
Well, you like it or not, folks, that is one that people will talk about.
19,754 is the official attendance here today. A ton of people, a ton of penalty minutes. The first 2 meetings total, there were 30 minutes. We had that in the first period and are building on that total.
That's 4 scraps, right? 4.
Yep.
4 separate altercations.
John pointed out earlier, and wisely so, that if Cairns gets in another one, he is gone on an automatic gains misconduct for having the third. Bobby Clarke has seen some of this. Rarely was he involved, but he was often a very close observer because somebody would come to his aid before the fight started and start something.
Just named as general manager to head the Canadian Olympic team for the upcoming Olympics in Japan. We congratulate Bobby, and I think they made a wise choice.
Nienema with a pass ahead. On Leclerc with a shot that deflected wide. Punched away by Richter. Zubras bumped by Karpatsev. 19 shots for the Flyers, 8 shots for the Rangers, but the Rangers still have that lead that was brought about on Sundstrom's goal 1 minute and 43 seconds into the game. Quite a bit of eventful time ago. Down to the ice, Lindros. Every fall brings about a big awe going up from the crowd. Coffey tries to play for Nienema, but it's an offside.
Nienema jumped in on the play. He's a fabulous skater. You think about the Flyers with Zubras and Nienema, 2 young players that are used a lot. In fact, 2 of the 5 players on their #1 unit of 5. So their future looks bright. We talk about their youth. Lindros is still young. This is a team that's got a lot of future to them.
This telecast presented by authority of the National Hockey League and is intended for the private use of night at the face-off in Philadelphia. The next night, Schultz and Selesky and one other guy came after him as soon as the puck was dropped.
You take care of your assets.
Exactly.
That's what they used to do here in Philadelphia.
All right, here's Brind'Amour shoveling one off the glove of Leach. Moving ahead is Falloon. Falloon controlling, and it's dealt back along. Brind'Amour sealed up by Bookaboo.
In your feet, boys. Release, Book, release.
Well, you can really hear the referee directing traffic. Wow.
And then Nemchinov. If Bookaboo had not released, there would have been a penalty. Flatley feeds on to Nemchinov. Could not get to the front of the net. Was he ever rammed? And so it's brought ahead now by Brind'Amour. Rod Brind'Amour trying to step in, denied by Leach. Leach tried to shovel it on, but it's Falloon to the board. Boy, Falloon, a significant player in this game today. It swung right back into his feet, but brought back ahead by Bird. halfway through regulation time. 1-0 in favor of the Rangers. Pretty good hit by Petit on Flatley. They get back up to play again, and on comes big Joel Otto. Laid it ahead for Klatt. Tries to get by Bruce Driver. Follow up, and a shot right on goal was stopped by Richter, as tearing up the wing was Therrien from defense.
The active play by the Flyer defense have really meant something here in the second period. They've done a lot of pinching when the Rangers have tried to come out of the zone. They're jumping in on the rush. I think the Flyers are attacking with 5 men, and they're going with 4 lines.
Desjardins shot knocked down. Podine, a rising shot shrugged down by Richter, and it's punched wide on the rebound. The shots are 10-1 Philadelphia in the period.
And 22-8 overall, and Mike Richter continues to be the one area that the Flyers have not solved at all.
Well, here is Desjardins playing it on through to Dainis Zubras. Young man out of Lithuania trying to step by and cannot, but the puck followed up and gunned to the net by Podine, but stopped by Richter. It is Zubras battling the boards again. Shoveled on to Luc Robitaille. Dropped it back to Wayne Gretzky. Then on to Robitaille again. Robitaille flops one, and Niinema with the read off the board. Jani Niinema, the rookie from Finland. Flips one ahead for Lindros, who's in. Drops it for Zubras, but it's punched away by old Samuelsson. And it's thrown right in on Richter for one of his easier stops.
Old Samuelsson was moving across. I thought he was going to nail Lindros, but Lindros moved the puck.
This isn't my chair, it's your chair.
The players dictate that pace.
He's been working with Kevin Collins and Brian Murphy today as his linesman. Replay official is Mike Condon upstairs here. Pass ricocheted on down off Graves. Icing call. He'll skate 7 miles roughly this afternoon, Steve Walcom will, and will make a lot of decisions, some of which will be non-calls, most of which will be.
There he is directing traffic, telling Coley Campbell, no, you can't change players. The Flyers now have the option, and they will change as the Joel Otto matchup for Mark Messier comes on the ice. Messier is by far and away the Rangers' best face-off man. In a tight game at the midpoint like this, the Rangers, I don't think will take too many chances. Messier will, I would think, take the majority of the draws. The problem for the Rangers is all the face-offs have been in their zone, which means that if Messier takes them all, he could be getting too much ice time.
Puck back to Desjardins, shooting one that's knocked down in front. Podine tries for it. It's shaken back to Desjardins. Hurried shot, deflected, score! Off of Podine! Will it count? Steve Walcom says stay away. We'll find out.
It did go off the skate blade of Podine. However, I don't think he directed it in. Now, Messier gets beaten here as Otto wins the faceoff clean. They get the original shot. However, the original shot is blocked. Now, Podine will go to the right here. He'll go over the right side of the ice, and the puck will hit his skate. As he turned around, I think he was facing the puck, and those are the types of shots that are allowed to stand this year with the rule change of the puck going off the skate blade. Was there a distinctive kicking motion? I don't know. Did he direct the puck with his skate over the line? You see him look, you see him look. Here comes the puck. It hits his right skate.
Boy, oh boy.
And man, the goal is allowed to count, allowed to stand as they have not gone upstairs. The referee has said it's 1-1.
He was very emphatic. He was very emphatic, as he's been all day, about counting that one, and he is not getting any kind of change. Boy, he came over to the table and said, no, that counts, and pointed right to center ice. So it's Berg shooting one, and that one went wide. The key word is distinct.
Right.
Distinct kicking motion. And was that? That's a tough call.
A year ago, I don't think that would have counted. This year, I think it does. Brian Burke, who runs that part for the National Hockey League, told me it's distinctive. It was almost like kicking at the puck frontwards or backwards. And the only part they wanted to stay away from was injuring a person in the distinct kicking motion with your sharp skate blade. So on that type of play, I think those are the goals that the league wants to see count.
Balloon for Brindamore, but he went down, and then a stick is tangled up in a skate. Meanwhile, it's Leach bringing it ahead. Leach just holds, got it across, but trouble there for Nemchinov. Bumped it around behind. Flatley has a man in front. Leach, and he shoveled it off. It's taken now by Nemchinov. Works over for Leach. Tries to recover, but it's shovel-boarded away to neutral ice. And then the thundering hit of Lindros on Nemchinov. Action all over the ice. Wonderful game. Leach with a shot, deflected to the seats. And play stops with 6:56 left in the second, with the game tied at 1.
Cycle by the big boys. And it's now 26 of the last 31 shots have been had by the Philadelphia Flyers. They cycle in the corner. Zubras is there, Leclaire is there, Lindros is there. You see the puck on the backboards. The cycle goes on, and Lindros, he avoids, as you see his check, and then a quick shot through the screen of Samuelsson and through the legs of Mike Richter. 2 goals through the legs of Richter now. Look at the Rangers. They sent 3 guys over to the side where Leclaire was. And before Samuelsson could get out to Lindros, there's the quick little wrist shot right through the legs of Mike Richter, and Philadelphia leads for the first time. They've dominated here, and finally they're able to get 2 on Mike Richter.
Inside of 2 minutes to play, Bodin's 11th from Desjardins and Otto. Lindros with his 15th from Leclaire and Zubras. And the Flyers have gotten the reward for all of their attack and all of the dominance that John mentioned. Up rolled along, Bodin tries to get it in front, and then in front, but having trouble to control was Terrien. Now it's Otto with it. As the Flyers warm to the task, Bodin a shot, and it went off Richter.
They're cycling again, Mike. The cycle is working for the Flyers.
Twisting with it is Renberg, and then he's shoved down, and the Rangers are able to get it back up ice. Wayne Gretzky bringing it ahead, lobs it on the wing, and it's handballed ahead by Terrien. And now Leach will play. Thundering roar here, just a steady roar in the building. 27 shots to 8 Flyers.
And we've talked a lot about cycling. We'll go to the Fox playbook and try to explain for those of you who don't quite understand what cycling is. Now, if you see the puck's in the corner, and there's all 6 players, but watch how they try to cycle like a bicycle wheel, around and around and around. The idea is to avoid and lose your check. Now, see how they're just cycling, and so far it's one-on-one, one-on-one, one-on-one. Then all of a sudden, as the cycling continues, somebody springs loose, and that's exactly what Lindros did, and he was able to get his shot. You go round and around and around, and if you're staying with a check, when you go round and around and around, you'll lose them once in a while, and when you lose them, that's when you get in front. If the puck is moved quickly, the guy's wide open, and that's what happened with Lindros, and he was able to score.
That's pretty much perfect animation to the way it happened, too. Good thing they don't have those buzzers, though. Those would be annoying, wouldn't they, when it goes in? Puck thrown on back now. It's Coffey. 5:15 left in the second period. And it's Dina Zubras in. Save made by Richter as he holds his team in it. Now it's Lindros walking around behind. Forced off there by Bukaboom. And Richter comes out with a big goal stick trying to scoop it in. Zubras is flattened against the back of the goal, and play is stopped.
I thought he was going to go down too, Mike. This Zubras, does he have legs? Can he keep his balance? Wow! The goal crease, because if he jumps on the puck there, it's a penalty. Part of his body's got to stay inside the goal crease, so as he retrieves it, it's Zubras. Now what? Zubras got hit again, and Mikey kept his balance. Terry Murray was telling us about his balance and his work because of the squats he did when he was a kid. Squats, all those squats. He's got huge thighs.
600 of them before practice, and 600 of them before bedtime. But you could break them up and not have to do them all at once then. What a big treat. Here's Vorobiev with a shot that's knocked away by Desjardins. Messier walled by Terrien. What a marvelous physical contest this is. Boy, this really tests the limits of your athletic ability.
But the Rangers' defense has been overworked. The Flyers' defense has not. 26-5 have been the last shots. The last 31 have been 26 by the Flyers. And 28-8 overall. The Rangers had the first 3 to start the game, and that's such a one-sided affair that the Rangers defense has got to be wearing. Their forwards have to pick up the game.
Big hits are 19-18 Philadelphia. Petit bringing it on. His team ahead by 1. Centered one, but it went off Leach. Boy, look at the glass shake. Petit again. Brind'Amour flips one. Grabbed by Leach. Shifts from defense to offense with his team. Flatley bringing it ahead. Dropped it back for Leach. Shoveled back one for Gretzky, but intercepted and thrown out by Brind'Amour. Worked right back off Brind'Amour. Milberg with a pass across. Flatley put it to the front, but it's Rumble sending it to the wall. Wayne Gretzky curling. Dumped one to the corner. Milberg trying to muscle his way in. Shoved off, but he put it behind. Now Rumble. Off of Noonan. Noonan got control, though, then started to walk. Got it to the back for a shot by Cairns that kicked out by Hextall. That is his second save of the period. He's 2 for 2. The shots are 16-2 in the period, 28-9 in the game. Under 3 minutes to go in the second. John LeClair picked it free. Quick shot by Lindros, went off a leg. Now Noonan jabbed it to the glass. It's off Lindros and steered ahead to Gretzky. Gretzky picks up Luc Robitaille and plops it to the corner, hoping for him, but getting Hextall. Shift change on for the Rangers. Nienema tried to lob it ahead and got it as far as center.
Again, the Rangers, when they did dump the puck in, it was to the right side of Hextall. This one isn't. Let's see what he does here. He's more into the just give it off to my defenseman if I have time type of mold right now, which is smart.
A finesse move by Lindros fails, but he gets it back again. At one time, teams would try to play it softly to the corner so that the defense would have to take it, or so that they might get there before Hextall would come out. They would never let him play it because he's so good with his stick. Here's LeClair crossing.
He gets a penalty. He pulled down. Maybe it was a penalty behind the play. I thought he was going to get a penalty for pulling down Samuelson, but in behind the play, it looks like somebody from the Flyers is going to get one. Maybe it is McClare. No, maybe not.
I think Nienema is
now going. He was tied up with Brian Noonan way back behind the play. So the Rangers may try to find a way to get some offense going on their power play. Here's Nienema, and you'll see Noonan move in. The shoulder of Noonan caught Nienema on the jaw, and Nienema reacted. That's a reaction penalty, and something I think Terry Murray would want to keep away from right now. With a lead, you know, you initiate, not react, and that's a reaction penalty to Nienema.
Roughing call on him at 17:53. What about next weekend? Well, next Saturday, check your local listing. Flip back in, and Leach goes to get it. Rangers are 0 for 2 on their power play with 2 shots on goal. Odin and Lindros have scored in the second for Philadelphia. Sundstrom in the first early for the Rangers. Hextall with trouble. Played it along. Graves trying to dig it out. Messier wanted to center, but it's knocked away to the corner. Desjardins takes over there. Gave it up to Leach. He's checked and must play in neutral ice. Help came from Driver with just under 100 seconds to play in the period. Leach hands on to Messier. Mark Messier cruising in, dropping it to Leach. Then over for Driver. Hurried it for the Messier corner. Mark Messier played that bounce, tried for Graves, got it back again. The Rangers captain got it over for Graves. A drive went off Therrien, and it's drilled back off, but a good keep by Leach. Hands over to Driver. Driver angles to Messier, moving around, but now he's got Leach stepping in, and the pass went off his skate, and then it flipped back out. Halfway through the penalty kill for the Flyers. 1:02 to go, second period. Mark Messier walking it back in, picking up reinforcements from the bench on a shift change of this power play. Messier kept it in neutral ice and handed it on to Leach. Now he crawls over the boards. Karpatsev back on to Wayne Gretzky, who wanted to play it through, but the big bodies were in the way with the long reaches. 40 left. Shots in the period, 16-2, Philadelphia. The Flyers' Paul Coffey sent it another 30 feet. Now back on for Sundstrom, who's moving in. Sundstrom fed it over to Leach. Leach dropped it on back. Karpatsev moving in, creeping in, score! Alexander Karpatsev has tied the game with 21.1 left in the period on his team's third shot.
I don't think anybody in the league keeps the puck alive better than Brian Leach. Look at him reach there. The puck, if that had gone down the ice, there would have been no goal, and the penalty kill would have been made by the Flyers. Instead, he kept the play alive. Now watch the Flyers all lose their feet all over the place. Look at this, 2 guys down. Even Hextall loses his balance and goes down, and Karpatsev showed some moxie by hanging on to the puck. 2 good passes behind their backs by the Rangers, and there you see 2 Flyers down, Coffey and Otto, and then Karpatsev just moved in. And Hextall backed right in with Karpatsev. The patience paid off, and we're tied up at 2 with the Rangers' #1 ranked power play getting a goal, and that keeps them alive because the Flyers were dominating.
Leach and Sundstrom get the assist on the 6th by Karpatsev, a power play goal. And what a third we're going to have. It's lifted into the seats, 5.7 to go in the second period. There'll be a defensive zone faceoff coming up in the Rangers' end, but during the second intermission, James Brown and Dave Maloney will bring you more scores.
Brind'Amour, 3 real good faceoff men. The Rangers use Messier. Coffey's the only man back. He's way back at the blue line.
Face-off is won by the Rangers. Coffey with time to pull a quick trigger, and that's it. Oh, has this been good? 28 shots by Philadelphia, 10 shots by the Rangers, and the teams are tied after 2 periods by a score of 2-2. James Brown and Dave Maloney right after this. 28-10 in that period, 16-3 Philadelphia. Scoring chances 14-4. Face-offs won 22-21. Power plays 1 for 3 Rangers, 0 for 3 Philadelphia. Penalty minutes even at 26. And in the hit department, it has been 21-20 Philadelphia. And those are the good hits. Good, solid hits.
Ronnie Hextall's coming off a game in Washington. He was picked the game's first star in the Philadelphia win there. Mike Richter was first star in the game December 4th against Philadelphia. A 1-1 tie in New York. And I think through 2 periods, you probably look at Mike Richter and think that he's been the #1 star in this game so far.
The hero of the World Cup. Had a brief lull at the start of the regular season, which I guess was expected. About how long did that last?
4 to 6 weeks. He was on the list for the 4 to 6 weeker, Mike. But once he got it going, the Rangers' fortunes turned around.
Therrien cranks a shot, and that one went off the post. Graves shakes it back out, and a rumble through the crowd. The sound of iron as Messier is taken out by Therrien.
Great job by Podine getting in the front of the net, and Mike Richter never saw the shot because Podine had the defenseman with him. 2 big bodies right in front. Richter didn't see it. It hit the post.
It is Samuelsson with trouble. Bukaboom with the pass. Gretzky taking it and laying it back out for Sundstrom. Sundstrom hands it on across. Bill Burt with the shot, calmly waffle boarded away by Hextall. Good hit on Burt, puck to Gretzky. Sent one in front for a chop that went through the crease wide by Sundstrom. Now back up come the Flyers. Leclerc, he's got Zubris in a 2-on-1. Leclerc creeping in, and it's knocked down by the defense. Strong play that time by Karpatsev.
And Ulf Samuelsson's hurting. He went into the backboards heavily. He's just now thinking about getting to the bench.
It is Niinema dumping it around the boards, and Samuelsson has just now arrived at the bench. Bukaboom connects back over with Leach. And then Jeff Bukaboom on for Sundstrom, but threw him and down. So a minute 35 played in the 3rd period. John Leclerc put that one into Nemchinov, and he just swept it into Hextall. Hextall put it off the glass, and it skipped all the way back down. Jeff Bukaboom is a tired man out there on defense right now. But he's able to play this one back. Bukaboom bringing it ahead. Hawked there by Klatt. Able to dump it back in deep. Swept around calmly by Hextall. Played back up the wall for Falloon. Falloon back over for Darren Rumble again. Rumble guides for Falloon. It's off his stick. He and Leach go to play. Now it's Klatt. Trent Klatt's pass was stifled enough by Driver that it can be worked back out by the Rangers and dumped in by Robitaille. So Hextall again. Played it up the boards and at the half boards. Driver, and that one deflected in front by Robitaille, but saved by Hextall. Now Flatley behind. Put it off the back of the cage. Rod Brindamore for the Flyers, dumping it back out. If you're just joining us, Sundstrom and Karpatsev the goal scorers for the Rangers. Podine and Lindros for Philadelphia. For the Flyers, moving ahead with it is Otto. Renberg tried to play it out. It's centered in front of Messier. Waits, scores! Mark Messier all alone in front.
Well, the Rangers won a board battle here on the far side of the ice, and then Messier, who's so cool, he saw Hextall go down early, so he backed up and waited, and finally was able to lift the puck up over the fallen goaltender. Look at the puck on the far side on the boards. As you'll see the play by Graves and Renberg. And there's Messier now. He backs up. Hexy goes down. The puck goes up, and the Rangers lead this thing 3-2. Rangers, Adam Graves wins the battle along the boards and then makes the first pass across to Messier, who knew he had to go high with the shot. And within 3 minutes of the 3rd period, the Rangers take the 1-goal lead. Hextall has his catching glove up there above the goal pad where you want it, but Messier showed some cool and was able to score.
Graves, the only primary assist. Messier's 28th at .254. 3 shots in the period, all by the Rangers. 1 shot by the Flyers that got the iron. And it's starting to sound a little louder right now, that shot.
Now, both Ranger goals, the one at the end of the second period on the power play, then this one, the Rangers waited till Hextall committed, and then they were able to finish the play.
Noonan drops Messier the shot, and holding on is Hextall.
Now, the Flyers nearly scored to start the period. They hit the post. The Rangers come back and win a loose puck battle, and Messier gets one. Man, Richter did not see that. The shot from the blue line hit the goalpost, or the Flyers would have had the 3-2 lead. Instead, Mark Messier scores his 28th on a great play by Adam Graves. As Brian Noonan had hauled down Renberg along the boards, the puck got loose. Graves kept the play alive. And now the Flyers, who 6 times this season have come back in the third period to win. 6 different times, more than anybody else.
They've got the big man out there. You saw him, Eric Lindros. Karpatsev, very patient, 26 years of age. Mark Messier, 36 years of age, extremely patient in front of the net. A hit might have been coming, but not enough. He just knew the right amount of time to wait before lifting.
And Samuelsson does not miss a shift after falling into the boards heavily. He's out there again for this big Philadelphia line.
For the Flyers ahead, it's Dinah Zubras creeping in, fed for Leclerc, off the mark, chopped at by Nienema. It bounced over for Leclerc. Then Zubras again, looking for Lindros, but instead he got the stick of Mike Richter, the Ranger goalkeeper. Played back ahead, and Nienema turns with it. Nienema the pass on to Paul Coffey. Coffey's pass across went off Leclerc. Knocked away from Berg. Played back out by Karpatsev. Sundstrom couldn't take, Lindros could. Back on to Zubras, but it came to Wayne Gretzky. Scooped it across, and Sundstrom over to play that. Knocked from him by Lindros, but he recovered nicely and got it on to Gretzky. Gretzky crossing, and his pass is broken up by Terry. Now Desjardins for the Flyers, working it back ahead to Leclerc. Leclerc finessed it back. Terry in a shot, and a save made by Richter. Leclerc could not center because of Driver.
Again, a defenseman jumping up on the play. I don't think I've ever seen Chris Therien play this well as a Flyer. He is all over the place, having a very strong game.
Messier had his stick held back just enough. Played out by Falloon and carried on by Trent Platt. Platt trying to get around in front. Save made by Richter as he kicked out with a pad. Worked along now for Falloon. Pat Falloon held it up the boards. Therien waiting. Shovels one, and it's knocked down in front by Platt. Platt bear hugged and crashed to the boards by Cairns. Therien with a toss. It came right back to him for another. Therien a wrist shot. It went off Richter and wide.
A penalty upcoming as Cairns finally gets called. He and Trent Platt went at it 3 different times on the shift. And finally, I think the rookie's going to go to the penalty box for the Rangers. Trent Platt, with his best shift of the game, he actually had a scoring chance to start the shift. And then after that, here he works in along the boards, and Cairns just throws him with that strength that he has. And the play was allowed to continue. Klatt went to the front of the net. They outnumbered the Rangers here in front, and there you can see Cairns knocking down Klatt away from the puck. And finally, he goes to the penalty box, does Cairns. Man, Klatt have a strong shift. Klatt and Podine have stepped it up for the Flyers this year and really made their forwards as a collective group so much better because of the way they've improved from a year ago. So he draws his team a power play when they trail by 1.
Flyers are 0 for 3 on the power play this afternoon with 5 shots on goal. Cairns with his 13th and 14th minutes of penalty time today.
Mike Coffey's a left-handed shot on the right defense. Now he changes side. He's a left-hand shot on the left side. Zubras is a left-hand shot on the far side, which means if Coffey goes to take the shot, I think he'd rather pass to Nienema, pardon me, Nienema, not Zubras. And Nienema can shoot the puck right off the pass extremely well.
Well, here he is. Brind'Amour with a shot that was blocked down. Brind'Amour takes out his man, old Samuelsson. Samuelsson staggeringly trying to punch it out, but could not. Now it's Lindros. Samuelsson on him, working him over. Lindros trying to pull his way off. 240 pounds. He can move just about where he wants. Coffey across to Brind'Amour. Finesses in front. Save Richter as he stood tall. And it's brought back up by Messier. Messier eating up some time, and now it's cleared back down.
Right, Coffey made the best pass to set up the shot, and Richter just stayed there. He didn't lose his balance. He outweighted the shooter, Brind'Amour.
Brind'Amour plays it ahead to Leclerc. He's got Nienema breaking. Oh, and he was stepped into by Bukaboom, but Bukaboom went down. 1:08 of power play time. Philadelphia trailing the New York Rangers 3-2, third period. For the Flyers, it's dumped in by Brind'Amour, sent off by Richter, who gets back to the goal crease. Lindros around behind, playing it back to the point to Paul Coffey. Dropped it along for Lindros, but it's behind now for Leach. Hacked it back the other way, and again the Flyers have to drop back. Ron Hextall with a big goal stick, swings it ahead now to Coffey. Taken away from him by Graves, and Adam Graves skates it and lays it on back further. Karpatsev on the turning skates of Messier. Messier, but it was picked up by Dinah Zubrin just right from the bench.
And for the last 30 seconds, the Flyers have changed all 5 of their power play players.
Here comes Desjardins, moving it ahead to Renberg. Renberg moving around, heads behind the net. Angles it back to Desjardins. Desjardins over to Rundle. Wrist one that's knocked down. Puck on to Berg, and he slugged it back to neutral ice. For the last 8 of the penalty kill. Power play for the Flyers. Desjardins bringing it back in the waning seconds, dropping it in. Richter sets behind. Leach had trouble but was able to play it along. Penalty time is up. Fresh from the box, Cairns gets a pass to Gretzky. His drive is saved by Hextall.
Barry Murray told us 2 things he wants his team to improve on before the playoffs. 1, puck support by his players. When the puck's there, get the teammates to support. And the other's the power play. And the power play didn't work for that 2 minutes. As they lead St. Louis 2-1 in the third period. Kozlov back in the lineup. Here it's a 1-goal game, and the Rangers changed their defenseman as soon as the puck is dropped. Mike, they're only able to do that once in the second period. They did it 6 times in the first period, and it all has to do with how close the players are to the bench at the time of the faceoff.
A 3-on-2. Lindros across, and a blast is blocked away by Richter. Unable to get enough on it was Zubris. He really wanted a lot more than he got. It's fed around now for Coffey, but it skipped through him and back down.
That's kind of what you and I would do if we were standing on a tee box and we took our driver and tried to hit the ball. He hit about a foot behind the ball. It's called hitting it fat. And that's what happened to Zubris, and he ended up breaking his stick on the play.
Ahead now comes Niederman, giving over to Leclerc. Big drive is blocked away by Karpatsev. Another shot. Oh, and it's held right to the post by Richter.
You know, a goaltender, when you play at this level, you want your skate, the heel of your skate, to be inside the goalpost. Right inside the goalpost. Now here's the shot. We'll see Richter move across with the shot, and his right skate, actually this is the original shot, it never got through. Now Richter's got to walk, skate back. See that? Man, right in there. He doesn't look. You do it by feel. You do it by just an instinct. He skates backwards, and his right skate blade is inside the goalpost, and that does not allow the puck to sneak through. Your skate has to go right. You try to keep your skate blade right against the post on that side. Richter can do it. A goaltender can do it by backing up without looking. It's like you have an antenna. You know where you are, and his skate was against the post, kept the puck out.
Bernie Perrant did that so well for the Flyers here, and that's the guy that Mike Richter grew up watching. Backhander went wide from Platt. Trickled around now to Robitaille. Luc Robitaille dropping back, checked off by Falloon. Well, this line's been impressive today for the Flyers.
They'll come at you with 4 lines. That's the difference from a year ago, in my opinion.
Ahead now comes Leach. Moving it ahead, Brian Leach got the pass over around in front of backhander, score! Nemchinov, and it's 4-2.
Very, very, very seldom do the Rangers score a goal when Gretzky or Messier are not on the ice. In fact, going into this game, the last 70 Ranger goals, Messier or Gretzky have been on the ice for 65 of the 70. And here's a goal where the play is made by Leach. Nemchinov stays wide. He beats Petit, and then he beats Hextall low on the backhand. And the Rangers have a 2-goal lead with 11:23 to go here. Nemchinov stayed wide. Petit couldn't turn quick enough. And you see right there, Nemchinov keeping his balance. Petit tried to chop his legs out. Nemchinov's another one of those players with the very strong legs and has great balance. He gets a key goal for the Rangers in a 2-goal lead.
And that is the first one of the 4 today in which either Leach nor Messier were on the ice when it was scored. Well, here is Therrien. Chris Therrien back, and now the order becomes very tall for his team. A team that outshot the Rangers 16-3 in the second period. But the Rangers got a late goal on the power play by Karpatsev to tie the game. Nemchinov's goal comes from Robitaille and Leach. Nemchinov's 5th. Played across to Therrien again. He's getting a lot of ice time, and he certainly deserves it. took a stick up high, and there'll be a penalty coming up from this. It is a high sticking call to Bruce Driver, and the Flyers will get a power play.
The referee skates over to check out Therrien, and it may be a double minor as Bruce Driver goes. He very seldom takes penalties. Bruce Driver doesn't have many penalty minutes on the season, but here he's had 26 minutes going into this game. But you'll see him move across. He tries to lift the stick. He tries again, and then boom. Now Therrien, a big tall guy, had bent over to try to play the puck, but there's no doubt the tip of the blade of Driver's stick went into the face of Therrien, and the penalty is handed out.
A double minor, 4 minutes of power play time for the Flyers.
You're responsible for your stick, and Coley Campbell and the Rangers coaching staff now are just leaning over and trying to tell the referee that Therrien had bent over, and that meant that the stick didn't have to go up as high, but you can see there was an injury there to Therrien. He's been cut on the lip, and the puck will be dropped with the Flyers having a double minor. This is the key portion of this game right now as far as the Flyers and Rangers are concerned.
Brind'Amour with Lindros and Leclerc. Coffey and Nieneman back. Nieneman keeps it, gives over to Paul Coffey. Then Lindros. They whip it around quickly. Brind'Amour centered one, spiked right back to the corner. Ulf Samuelsson trying to play. Covers and then throws it along the wall. Messier's pass went off Karpatsev and is played now by Graves and laid back down.
A lot of people don't like Ulf Samuelsson as a player. I'll tell you, he's had one competitive game here this afternoon against this very big, tough Flyer club.
The gate was open at the defensive end to let him in. He stayed out. Puck sped around now by Brind'Amour, who was bumped and is slow to get back up. Meanwhile, it's laid right back down to the Rangers again, halfway through the third period. The New York Rangers leading the Philadelphia Flyers here at the Coors State Center, 4-2. Third period of play. Nienema ahead to Lindros, and a shot is saved by Richter. Rebound sent to the wall. Paul Coffey wanted to get there, but it's knocked away by Sundstrom. Brush from him by Nienema. And an offside call.
That'll go all the way down to the Flyers zone as Leclerc cuts the puck, and the Flyers #1 unit, they just kind of skate over the bench and get off the ice with 3:05, so 55 seconds gone on the power play. Lindros had the one shot. He released the puck quickly from high in the slot, but Mike Richter, with his strong positional play this afternoon, made the save actually look pretty easy.
Pat Falloon's unit comes back out, and you see hopping over the boards Darren Rumble, a first-round pick of this team.
He played last night over in the other arena, the Spectrum.
That's what's called as an expensive call-up. You just bring him across the parking lot. They had a sellout crowd, 17,380, to watch the American League Philadelphia Phantoms, coached by Bill Barber. They tied with the Hershey Bears 5-5, and now it is a 20-game home unbeaten streak for the Phantoms. So no seats available here, and none last night, about 200 yards away. They do like it in this town, don't they? Here's Hextall. Still lots of power play time. 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Just over 9:15 to play in the third. Flyers need 2 to get back even. Brian Leetch patrolling there. Leetch tried to shovel it through, but it's broken up by the Flyers. They'll hack back over, but the carry out by Noonan. If they hurry, it's a 2-on-1 with Nemchinov. Noonan creeping in, and the pass is blocked by Desjardins, who is back. Now on comes Michael Renberg for the Flyers. Renberg turning, looking for a pass. Still controlling. Paul Coffey had pulled to the corner. Falloon a shot, and that answered by the pad of Richter. On to the back now to Nienema. So now it is a single minor of the two. 2 minutes to go. Beat in front. Zubras a shot save, and it's right back into Richter by Brian Lee.
It's a clinic. Richter's putting on a clinic here. 36 shots he's seen. 2 have beaten them, both in the second period. One went through his legs on a deflection off a skate. The other one was a quick shot through a screen by Lindros. Watch Falloon's shot and Richter's reaction. He's always at the top of the crease. If he plays two feet above the crease, he gets lost out there. His positional play is right at the top of the crease, and you'll see it again here in a moment as the play goes from behind, and you see Richter that time actually about halfway towards the top of the crease, but his positional play, watch, he's there waiting for the puck almost. Legs are closed, arms are tight to the body. Zubras just swept the puck quickly, and Richter is just putting on a clinic to this point.
Coffey a shot, and that got the glass. Dug out by Karpatsev. Wedged off by Brind'Amour. John Leclerc up with it. Leclerc turns, but into traffic. Karpatsev to Leetch, and then it's back down. The hometown guy, Mike Richter. Did you have some good games in Calgary, your home area, when you went
Actually,
back
never ever played there, Mike. Vancouver was in, and I enjoyed playing there. And to be perfectly honest, I love playing here in Philadelphia. You're involved. The Flyers have always had teams that crash the net. You get involved and you battle, and you're into it emotionally. I love playing in Philadelphia. Great place to play.
It has been an emotional tilt here. The Flyers need 2 to get back even. That one sent wide by the ball, and Brind'Amour jammed around on the backhand by John LeClair. Back at the point, Coffey gives over to Eric Lindros. Lindros with a goal in this game this afternoon. It's muscled back off by Bookeboom and brought back further. Sundstrom just cruising a neutral ice and dropping it back in.
The 5-man unit, actually everybody goes off except for Lindros. But the main key ingredient for the Flyer power play, not getting it done here.
Off a glass support, it sails into the seats, and so again play stop. There have never been more fans to watch a hockey game in Philadelphia in person than have gathered here at Coors State Center this afternoon. 19,754. Mark Piazza of the Flyers staff was telling us that each of those 126 seats has either 12 or 16 seats in it. And as a suite owner, you're allowed to buy half of the number of seats you have additional in standing room. So for that reason, you have above capacity because people are standing in the suites. The attendance for Detroit last week was 19,711. So it has gotten bigger. Boomer Esiason is in the building.
Goes to a lot of games in New York. And here he is in Philadelphia. Nice guy, too. Really a nice guy.
Pass across is kicked away by Messier, but offside.
32 seconds to go now on the double minor to Bruce Driver. And the Flyers really, they had, you know, the one shot by Falloon that Richter kicked out with his right leg. The other shot by Zubris from in front. Other than that, the power play time where they've had sustained time deep in the zone, they have not been able to do that. 21 shifts. You can see Eric has averaged just around a minute per shift. 4 shots, but those seem to have been earlier in the game. He had 2 in the first period, 1 in the second period, 1 here in the third, which was a wrist shot from the high slot. They haven't been able to use their speed like we normally see. You haven't seen the 2-on-1s and the 3-on-2s that the Flyers normally come up with. The second period, we saw some awesome forechecking by the Flyers.
Mike Richter has been the story. He did regain his goal stick, as you noticed, after losing it, and he had some help from Jeff Bookeboom to put it up into the seats.
Richter was the Rangers player of the month in the month of December. His personal record was 10 wins and 1 tie. And when you talk to Mike regarding Philadelphia and their style of play, he says, I always have to be ready for the wraparounds. The Flyers, when they're down near the net, they come from behind on both sides of the net. Leclerc's good at it. He said Lindros is good at it. So he really prepares himself for that type of game.
At the University of Wisconsin, his nickname was Butterball because he was the first guy to get to the training table and the last guy to leave it. Never mind, John. Messier, centering pass, and it chipped away from Graves.
There wasn't but a beat. Here's a 3-on-2.
Fed back over for John LeClair, then Renberg, and a shot deflected off the defense and wide. Old Samuelson got in front of that one. Penalty time is up to Driver. The Rangers have killed off a double minor, and here's Driver moving in with it, but it was an offside pass.
Adam Graves ever so close to the blue line, but not there in a 2-line pass.
36, and has gotten 34, and some of them in spectacular fashion. He might be the guy, but maybe someone else will rise out of the last 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Here's LeClair moving in. Puck knocked away from him, and so back to neutral ice.
The defense pairing of Samuelson and Karpovtsev so far have been pretty good on the Lindros line. LeClair's had quite a few shots. He had 6 after 2 periods. But they're not getting rebounds, and they haven't been able to find much room to make the plays.
Lindros over to Zubris, and he fired the shot wide.
But again, there was no room there. Samuelson was right on Zubris as the Flyers here really try to find some open ice to take shots.
John LeClair, and then Lindros. Off LeClair, and it skipped over for Sundstrom. Knocked down by a high stick. A whistle would have come, but it was canceled because the Flyers played it. Drilled back on, and a leaping hit by Zubris into Pat Flatley as you watch Niederma play. Under 5.5 to go, third period. The Rangers were trailing 2-1, scored late in the second on the power play, and then got a pair of goals here in the third. Mark Messier has what could be the winner if there is no further Flyer scoring. It's Leach laying it right back in again. Desjardins bringing it on. Desjardins just pitchforks it on his backhand to the glass. Around behind for Jeff Pookaboom to drill it off. Rangers can't clear it out. Dropping back is Flatley. Flatley twisting around behind. Joel Otto had him in his sights. It's played back out again by Luc Robitaille. Robitaille trying to work his way through. Slithered a shot that Hextall just winds up grabbing and play is stopped. 36 shots. Make that 37 for the Flyers. 16 Rangers.
Oh man, Turtle, what are you thinking? You're in the middle of the road. Come on. Come on, Turtle. Come on. Come on, Turtle. Turtle.
Well for Mike Richter.
No, it took him 25 games until November 26th when he won a game in Phoenix. And that turned the Rangers season around. He made a great save on Keith Tkachuk late to seal it for the Rangers. From that point, he really picked his game up and has been strong. But that was 25 games into the season, Mike. He had a tough time readjusting to the NHL after the World Cup.
Did he do anything special to try to break out of it?
It just worked. Flat out hard work. And he's always been a dedicated athlete. The MVP in the World Cup, as you know.
Tonight on Fox, don't miss brand new action-packed episodes of Cops, part of a full hour and America's Most Wanted. Then late night tonight, catch the hilarious Mad TV. It all starts at 8, 7 Central on Fox. Got a motorcycle for being MVP. Yeah. Whatever happened to that?
Great big old brand new Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
2 nights ago, they had an auction in New York, a charity deal. Mike put the motorcycle up for auction. It got somewhere in the neighborhood of $12,000. And all that money goes to charity. A real good thing is, as we mentioned earlier,
Mike Keenan paid $12,000 for that?
he's already gone about 3.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Should save a lot of time to ride him right now, too.
Off the face-off, puck picked up by Leach and rolled along with 4:15 left in the third. Here's Lindros in front, and it's sent just wide, poked aside by Mike Richter. Now Leach on for Messier, but instead it's Niederman.
Mike, the first time these two teams met this year, the Flyers had 15 chances off the rush. In other words, moving up ice and making it happen with speed. Second game, they only had 5. And here, I don't think they've had that many off the rush.
Leclerc a blast, and it was deflected off the skate of Carpetsev wide. Now Niederman shooting one, and that struck the boards in the back of the goal. Dug out by Leclerc, trying to muscle his way to the front. Chased off by old Samuelson. Zubras to Leclerc, and that knocked down by the defense. Poked away by Richter. Mark Messier up with it for the Rangers.
This is how the Flyers have been getting their chances.
Leclerc a shot and a kneeling block by Carpetsev. Shoulders with Leclerc. They work each other over. Messier testing Lindros behind. Old Samuelson bangs it off the boards, and it's off Niederman, taken by Coffey.
This is when the Flyers are at their best. It's not off the rush. It's off the forecheck in this game, and Richter gets it done, as do Samuelson and Carpetsev once again.
Sundstrom looking ahead, floats one. Wayne Gretzky will skate it down, an onside play, and he sent it across the net mouth wide. Now 2:55 to go in the third period, and the Flyers need 2. Balloon trying to break through. Save Richter. Rebound poked away and knocked down into Richter by Desjardins, and play is stopped.
Right out of midair. Balloon got the original. The second shot was by Desjardins. Richter was there. This started way back in the other end in the Flyers zone. Gretzky moved in for the loose puck, put it in front. It didn't work, and then you'll see a great one-on-one move here by Falloon on Leach. Now watch Richter. One. In comes Desjardins. The Flyers are sending their defense in on the rush, and right out of midair, he skips the puck into Mike Richter, who had the position established once again above the goal crease. The Flyers now, every shift, it's either Coffey heading up ice, or it's Desjardins up ice, or it's Therrien. They need 4- and 5-man rushes to try and get one as they trail by 2.
They had 55 shots against Phoenix the other night and 40 in this game. But unlike the Phoenix game, the score isn't working for them. Desjardins floats it along now to Chris Therrien. Away from the reach of Platt. Finesse move by Brian Leach, and he got it on to Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky has Sundstrom working with him. Gretzky to the slot, fakes the big drive. Now a shot. Save made by Hextall, and he held on for a moment and then dealt it back off to Desjardins.
And the Rangers patient with the puck in the offensive zone. That's worked for 2 goals for them. And there Gretzky tried it.
Gretzky up with it. 2 minutes to go, third period, and he just lobs it on back. Desjardins plays it to Niinema and back. 40 shots to 17. It was 16-3 Philadelphia in the second period. But in that period, the Flyers got 2 goals. The Rangers got one late to tie the game. So the reward of all of that dominance was taken away from the Flyers in the waning seconds. Today's chief player of the game is the man who faced 40 shots and maybe more before we're done, Mike Richter.
So it's 2 games in a row. And I would think he'll be picked as the game's #1 star here if it is. That's 2 games in a row against Philadelphia where he's been picked the game star. It's 2 goals against or fewer in 15 of his last 24 games going into this one, Mike, for Mike Richter. That's the type of role that he's been on. He always gives the Rangers a chance, especially on the road. Rangers now, if they win this with 1:33 to go, they've won in Pittsburgh and in Washington their last 2 games within the conference. And now Hextall goes to the bench.
So 6 attackers for the Flyers, but we get a stoppage of play on an offside.
Now, Lindros was deep in the zone. He couldn't get out because Nemchinov was holding him in the zone. There's 1:24 to go now. As you see, Hextall on the bench, and the Flyers will go with 6. They go with the original unit of 5, plus they ask Renberg to join them now. And they'll throw everything they can on Mike Richter here. They'll try to get traffic. They'll try to work the puck deep. And the Rangers again, and it's been almost like it's been religious through the first and the third periods. It's Karpatsev and Samuelsson on the ice when Lindros is there. And now there's been a timeout called by the Flyers.
Well, Michael Renberg, who you saw just a moment ago, was on that famous Legion of Doom line for the longest time, had abdominal problems, battled through the playoffs despite being in tremendous pain, and now he has dropped down a line, and Dainis Zubras, the rookie sensation, has come to take over.
Yeah, Renberg had 139 points in 130 games before the injury, which was a heck of a scoring clip. Now he's trying to regain the touch and the confidence. I mean, if Zubras steps up and plays well there, that gives them more balance if Renberg can get it going on a different line. There's the divisional leaders, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, ranked 1 and 2, and then you have Florida all the way down, the top 8 from the East.
It'd be Buffalo Rangers, Florida against New Jersey, Pittsburgh against Hartford, and Philadelphia against Montreal if the playoffs were starting tonight.
Still 1:24 to go here in the third period. A 2-goal lead by the Rangers. Hextall's on the bench. Renberg joins the Lindros unit of 5, and here we go.
Zubras across. They blast it in and come pouring into the zone. It's drilled along by Karpatsev, but into traffic. Karpatsev trying again. It went off Leclerc. Dug out by Lindros. Back to Coffey. Shoots one. Pad stop made by Richter, and it's thrown back off by Graves. Striding back after this is Mark Messier. Messier gets back for it. Cancels any icing, and the puck turned on back to neutral ice. Up with this now is Karpatsev.
There was some save by Richter. Leclerc deflected that Coffey shot, and Richter again just stood there, Mike, closed his legs and made another super save.
Niinema with 46 to go, handing it on to Lindros. Got away from the wedge of Berg, but lost the puck. Karpatsev turning it along, and it's sent back down again. This one flopping wide of the empty net, but is gathered in by Coffey before it could get there. Played along to Niinema with half a minute to go, and the Flyers need 2. Pivoting with it is Eric Lindros. On now for Desjardins, pokes it in and hustles to get it. Big Jeff Bukaboom is back, though. It's knocked off to Zubras. Dainis Zubras with 18 to go. And it came to Graves. Graves pitches it on for Gretzky, but Therrien in the last 10. Moving back in is Leclerc. Could not get by the defense. Shot right in front, knocked down by the defensive Leach, and that'll do it. The New York Rangers have gotten their first win in the 3 games that have been played in this season series. Mike Richter faced 16 shots in the second period, and authors an impressive victory.
40-17 the shots overall. The Rangers had a good game plan and stuck to it. Richter held them in the second period, and then the Flyers didn't get the big save they needed and lose it by 2.
Record crowd in Philadelphia. Most disappointed by the final score. The Rangers 4, the Flyers 2. We'll be back. 1970s fierceness. 58 penalty minutes in the game. 58 shots. 54 hits. Huge names. two prominent teams. 19,754 fans. 6 goals, 4 fights, 2 points to the New York Rangers. The final score from the Coors State Center in Philadelphia. The Rangers 4, the Flyers 2.